I vowed to destroy my brother's best friend, but now he's in my bed. Gooseberry. So I've heard you're crashing my school. Need a VIP ride, sweetheart? Wink emoji. I groaned while reading the message. Gooseberry, aka Tristan, the unwanted intruder between us siblings, me and Damien. No, Luca, you gonna stay calm. Yes, deep breath. It was the first day of junior year. I wasn't excited, I wasn't even dreading it. I was just existing through it. As I passed the room next door, my steps faltered and for a second I swore I could hear Damien, my elder brother's voice. I'll see you around school, champ. Maybe I'll even introduce you to my other friends. Don't embarrass me, though. I clenched my backpack strap, forcing myself down the stairs. 6 months since Damien left, yet his voice still echoes in my ear. I found Mum with her tea in the living area, Dad's voice chatting outside. I'm leaving for school, I murmured, not expecting a response. Mum didn't look up, just hummed, flipping a page. Take pocket money from your dad outside. Right, that's what my worth is these days. It wasn't this bad when Damien was here. Our parents favored him, but at least back then, I wasn't invisible. Damien made sure of it. Damien was the golden boy, smart, charismatic, and top grades. But no matter the comparison, Damien never made me feel small. He made this house a home. Our parents gifted me a car on my 17th birthday, only because of Damien's insistence. I never drove it. I wasn't legal yet and hated being behind the wheel. Stepping outside, I found Dad washing both mine and Damien's car. Neither had been driven in months, yet they were spotless. Damien's car looked lived in, dented, scratched, full of stories. Mine? Untouched, clean, unused. Damien drove it once, the night I got it, and the next day, he was gone. Why? Still a mystery. I swallowed and turned to my father, who already reached into his pocket for cash. Here, for the ride. Before I could even take it, a 2021 Mercedes AMG GT rolled up to the curb. I didn't need to see the driver to know who it was. Tristan. The window rolled down, and there he was. He's a mix of chaos and perfectionism. By day, he seemed like a good boy, but something about him gave me a notorious reputation vibe that made me question his true nature. He's also Damien's best buddy, and the guy I hated the most. Morning, Mr. Reyes. Tristan greeted my father with an easy, charming smile, his voice smooth as ever. Hope you've been well. My dad chuckled. Tristan, you still driving that death trap? You wound me, Tristan said dramatically, placing a hand over his chest. It's a fine piece of engineering, sir. Luca should consider upgrading. I scowled. I don't even drive. Exactly my point. I shot him a glare. He grinned. My father, completely unbothered by our exchange, handed me the money. Tristan, you heading to school? Sure am. Take Luca with you. I choked on my own breath. What? No, I can take the bus. Tristan leaned on the steering wheel, his smirk growing. Aw, Luca, you don't want to ride with me? No. My dad sighed. Just get in, Luca. It's a ride, not a marriage proposal. Tristan's gaze flickered with something unreadable before he turned back to me, wiggling his fingers. Come on, sweetheart. Let's not keep your adoring fan waiting. I shot him a murderous look. He just laughed. Reluctantly, I grabbed my backpack tight and stomped toward the car, yanking the door open. The moment I slid into the passenger seat, Tristan turned to my father. I'll get him to school safely, sir. You better, Dad said, turning back to the car he was washing. Tristan pulled away from the curb, the purr of the engine filling the air. Then he sighed dramatically. You're so pouty in the mornings. It's kind of cute. I turned to glare at him. Shut up, he smirked. But if you shut me up, who will you hate then? My jaw clenched. I turned away, staring out the window. He was insufferable, and yet, no matter how much I avoided him, Tristan always had a way of inserting himself into my life. For a while, I thought it was just because of Damien. Now, I wasn't sure. Then Tristan spoke again, low and teasing. "You should sit here more often. This seat looks good on you." Heat pricked at my neck. "Shut up." He chuckled, clearly entertained. "What? Just saying, this view? Not bad." I swallowed hard, scowling at my reflection in the window. Damn him. But one thing I didn't know, if anyone knew why my brother left, it was Tristan. And I was gonna find out, even if it destroyed us both. I hated how Tristan affected me, both good and bad. He made sure everyone knew we were related. I mean, I know Damien and him had been the school's star boys, acing academics, co-curricular, sports, campaign for the needy, and other stuff. And I'd have been happy to be known as Damien's younger brother. But being related to Tristan, the guy on the mission to piss me off, has really made me want to scream at everyone that I had nothing to do with someone who might, or might not, be responsible for my brother's departure. I have heard a lot about their bro code around the school in this 1 month. The best ride-or-die duo, the inseparable buddies, and the boys who had an unshakable bond off and around the school campus. But in school, they were rivals ready to beat each other behind, be it academics, sports, silly bets, or their funny jabs, constant banters and feigned wrestling on the school ground to make one admit their defeat. It was always fun in school with them, and it still is lively with Tristan's charming presence, but without Damien, the thrill in the school had lessened. But now that I'm here, it seems people are getting the thrill back in school. I was minding my business, walking to class, when Tristan's voice rang out from the other end of the hall. "There's my favorite freshman." I stopped mid-step. The hallway went quieter. People were watching. Tristan's gang was lounging by the lockers, all smirking. But Tristan himself was walking right toward me, hands tucked in his pockets, the picture of relaxed confidence. I sighed. "For the last time, I'm not a freshman." "I know, you're a precious little junior, but freshman has a better ring to it." Tristan leaned against the locker beside mine, far too close for comfort. His cologne was something sharp and expensive, laced with the faintest scent of smoke and leather. Tightening my grip on my books, I scowled. "Don't you have someone else to bother?" Tristan's gaze dipped, sweeping over me, slow and deliberate. "But no one glares at me quite like you do." I rolled my eyes, but then I saw it. The silver chain hanging around his neck. Something tugged at my memory, something sharp and unwelcome. The last time I'd seen a chain like that was a year ago, when I was 16. It was past midnight when I woke up to the sound of footsteps outside my room. Not unusual, considering I live with an older brother who had the subtlety of a hurricane. But something felt off. Dragging myself out of bed and rubbing my eyes, I cracked my door open just in time to see Damien slipping down the stairs. Leather jacket. I frowned. Damien didn't wear leather jackets. Damien was a hoodie and sneakers guy, the one who looked effortlessly put together but still approachable. So why did he look like he was walking into a Fast and Furious movie? My sleepy brain didn't even think before I did what the inner James Bond inside told me. As soon as Damien stepped outside, I grabbed my Marvel-themed pajama hoodie and quietly slipped after him. By the time he got into his car, I was already crawling into the trunk. I had no idea what I was expecting, certainly not what I found. The moment the trunk popped open, I peeked out, my brain short-circuiting at the sight before me. A racetrack. Not just any racetrack, a dark, underground one, lit by neon lights and packed with roaring cars, screaming fans, and people who looked like they belonged in some illegal action movie. What the hell? Damien was nowhere in sight, so I stumbled out of the trunk, pulling my hoodie over my head, like that would help me blend in, which, looking back, was the dumbest move ever because I was literally in my Marvel pajamas. What in the hell has Damien to do with such a place? I muttered under my breath, pushing through the crowd, searching for Damien. Then, just as I thought I spotted him, a figure stepped in front of me, blocking my way. A guy in a black mask. He was taller than me, dressed in black, and wore a silver eagle pendant chain around his neck. His presence was unnerving, like he saw through me in an instant. I took a step back, but his voice cut through the noise. "How did you get here?" The mask didn't move, but the guy tilted his head, unimpressed. "Does Damien know you're here?" My stomach twisted. "How do you know I'm related to Damien?" He didn't answer. Instead, his gaze remained locked on me, like he was trying to solve a puzzle only he understood. "Knight," a girl's voice purred, breaking the moment. A tall, confident girl in leather heels draped herself over the other horrendous grey-masked guy's arm. "What's the king of the night racer doing with a kid?" King of the night racer? My blood ran cold. This guy wasn't just some random racer. He was someone big. Someone dangerous. The girl skips out of the grey mask and tugs at his sleeve. "Come on, they won't start without you." Knight, or whatever his real name was, kept his eyes on me for another long second before turning away, letting the girl drag him to the starting line. He then turned to tap on a guy in a red mask near a sleek black sports car at the starting line, who seemed to be making out with a girl. Knight looked as if he said something to the red mask guy until he took it off abruptly and turned to look at me, stunned. Damien? The red mask was my brother. The moment Damien found me, he looked damn pissed as he marched straight up to me. "Luca? Are you kidding me? What the hell are you doing here?" I scowled, trying to shake off the way my heart was still hammering. "You tell me. You snuck out, and now I find you at some illegal street race with this stupid red mask on. What the hell, Damien?" He ran a frustrated hand through his hair. "I'm not part of this, okay? I was just watching." I crossed my arms. "You better not be. Our parents are literally police officers. If Mom and Dad find out, They won't." His voice was oddly firm. "Because you're not going to tell them." I hesitated, studying his face. Something about the way he said it made my stomach churn, but he took my wrist and led me back to the car before I could argue. My eyes momentarily went to the black mask, Knight, whose gaze was trained towards me before he sat inside the car at the starting line. I blinked as Tristan's silver chain caught the light, yanking me back to reality. My breath felt uneven, my hands were clammy, because I knew that chain. But the one I saw had an eagle pendant on it, and with the chain tucked under his hoodie, I'm not sure if that's the same one or not. But for the first time, I had a terrible suspicion about who the king of the night racer might be. Tristan's smirk faltered for a fraction of a second, like he noticed my stare, but then it was back in place. "You good, sweetheart? You look like you've just seen a ghost." I snapped out of it, shoving at his chest. "Get out of my way." "Feisty." He let me pass, but not before leaning down and whispering against my ear. "I like it." My breath hitched, and I hated myself for it. I practically bolted down the hallway, my mind racing faster than any of those cars from that night, because suddenly, things weren't just about Tristan being an annoying, flirty menace. No. Tristan was Damien's best bud, and he must know Damien's secret. Or worse, he was one of them too. And I needed to find out how deep this ran, even if it meant getting caught in the crossfire. I jerked the bag off my shoulders, still recalling the chain I saw in Tristan's neck. The guy was messing with my mind, but I'll find out soon if my intuitions are for nothing. Home was, as usual, silent. No one there to welcome me back home. It was always so warm when Damien was around. With him, I at least felt seen. But now, sighing, I dropped the bag on the couch in the living area, ready to plunge and calm my saddened heart, until my gaze landed on the letter on the table, half peeking out of its envelope. Curious, I looked to see if anybody was around. Before I hesitated and carefully picked it up, my eyes scanned the official-looking header. LAPD. Confusion prickled at me. It had been for Dad, right? Since he worked as a police officer, but then my breath hitched when I spotted a name at the bottom. Your son, Damien. My fingers tightened around the letter. What? Before I could even skim the rest, the letter was suddenly snatched from my hands. I startled, looking up to find Mum glaring at me, her jaw tight. "What do you think you're doing?" she snapped. I frowned. Mum, I saw Damien's name on it. Shouldn't you be studying?" Her tone turned cold. "Or do you want to fail out of school after we worked so hard to get you in the same one as your brother?" I flinched. Go." She waved me off, turning away. I turned on my heel and padded upstairs in silence. My chest tight, my throat burning. But that night, I sneaked into Dad's study. I wanted to get any documents leading to whatever I thought I saw in that letter from Damien, and finally I came across one. Illegal car race, signal break, minor felony, and a year imprisonment. My eyes stilled, reading the words. Damien is behind bars. But he told me he wasn't a part of that stuff, and he never lied to me. Suddenly, I recalled the black mask, the guy with the silver chain. Knight. My eyes blaze in fury. No, Damien didn't have to be the one behind bars. It was him, the black mask one. I know who he was. And I'm going to put him where he deserves to be. He played my brother. Now it's time I make him taste his own betrayal, even if it breaks me on the way. Luca was acting weird, and I don't mean the usual brand of weird where he huffed, rolled his eyes, and scowled at me like I was the biggest inconvenience to his existence. No, this was new, different, weird. Voluntarily getting into my way, smiling at me in the halls, waving hi when he passed by my classroom. Who was he, and what had he done with my usual scowling Luca? And now, he had just pulled up a chair at my table in the cafeteria, in the middle of my goofing off with my friends, no less. He set his lunchbox down like he did this every day, and slid my untouched burger aside before opening a spoon. The entire table fell silent. I raised a brow. All right, now I'm concerned. Luca, bless his strange little heart, simply smiled. Let's share homemade lunch. The guys choked on their laughter, all eyes bouncing between us like we're their favorite reality show. I ignored them, my gaze locked on Luca, watching him for cracks in whatever act this was. He looked nervous, but determined. He was pushing something, and it was driving me insane. I muttered under my breath, "Fuck it." Grabbing his wrist, I yanked him up, ignoring his startled, "Tristan, what?" as I dragged him out of the cafeteria. His protest turned to pleading when he realized where we were heading. "Wait, hold on, just wait." Too late. I pinned him against the wall behind the staircase, the space small enough that he had nowhere to escape. His chest rose and fell in quick, uneven breaths as he looked up at me, wide-eyed. I took my time, letting my gaze roam over him, watching the way he fidgeted, the way he swallowed. "All right, Luca," I drooled, hands braced on either side of him. "What game are you playing?" His lips parted, closed, open again. "I don't understand what you mean." A slow smirk curled on my lips. "Don't lie to me." I leaned in just enough for him to feel my breath. "You've been different this week, and I want to know why." His fingers clenched at the hem of his t-shirt. He exhaled shakily, eyes darting to my chest instead of my face. "I miss Damien." Before I could react, Luca hurried on. "And you remind me of him. You have his vibe." Something dark and unreadable flickered in my chest. I tipped his chin up with my fingers, forcing him to meet my gaze. My thumb traced his cheek, the touch feather light, and Luca inhaled sharply. "You can stay as close as you want," I murmured, voice low. "But don't mistake me for Damien." His brows pinched together in confusion. "Because Luca," I brushed my thumb against his parted lips, watching as his breath hitched. "I don't see you like a brother." Silence stretched between us, thick and crackling. Luca's face burned, his lashes fluttering. Then, so softly I almost missed it, he whispered, "I know." He licked his lips, and I don't want you to be a brotherly figure. My pupils dilated. I stared at him, taking in every inch of his flushed expression, the way his breath was uneven, his hand clenched at his side like he was barely holding himself together. Oh, this just got interesting. A slow, knowing grin spread across my face. Oh, Luca, don't you think I notice the way you jerk every time I touch you? I leaned in, my lips ghosting near his ear. You're gonna have to be more daring if you want to convince me you actually want this. He shivered as I pulled back slightly, my gaze locking with his. Because right now, I can see right through you. I tapped his chin with a finger. And you, my dear, are playing a dangerous game. Luca's eyes snapped open. Panic, frustration, and something else. I started pulling away, ready to leave him stewing in his own mess, but then he grabbed my collar and yanked me closer. Now that was unexpected, and hot. My brows shot up, caught off guard for the first time today. He was blushing furiously, but still holding me there, his grip tight, his lips slightly parted. I jerk away, but I don't move when you touch me, Tristan. Stick to games you actually know the rules of, sweetheart, I mumbled, stepping aside. Why? Are you afraid of the game? He challenged, voice wobbly but defiant. I blinked and then I smirked. Yanking him by the waist, I crushed him against me, letting my lips hover near his. His breath stuttered. I don't know what your endgame is, I whispered, my voice dark and smoldering. But whatever it is, I'd ace it, because losing isn't in my nature. Still, I'll give you a chance to come clean. Tell me what's in your head, and trust me, I'll be nothing but honest with you. I've known this boy since childhood, lurking around Damien just to get close to Luca, and I know he's always seen me as someone who steals Damien's attention from him. Ever since, he's disliked my presence, always finding faults to push me away from Damien. But what do I do with this heart that this stupid boy has captured? Luca swallowed hard, hesitating and contemplating. I tightened my grip. A week, Luca. Come clean, or better be ready, I murmured, voice laced with promise. Because before this game is over, you'll find yourself defeated. Luca sucked in a sharp breath. His fingers twist against my chest like he wanted to push me away, or pull me closer. Either way, it didn't matter much. Because he had no idea what he had just started, and I was going to enjoy every second of proving that to him. I adjusted my grip on the steering wheel, watching the rearview mirror with a smirk. Luca really thought he could tail me? He thought he was being sneaky, stalking me for weeks, snooping around my dorm like some amateur detective. But I let him think he was getting closer, let him think he was unraveling me, because the truth, he wasn't ready for it. Not yet. I gave him a week to tell me, but he really wanted to play me. I almost laughed at his desperation and determination when he told the cab driver to follow me, but he had no idea what he was walking into. I let him tail me for a while, just to see how far he'd go. And then, when he thought he'd lost me, I made my move. I went to his cab and yanked open the door, and there he was, wide-eyed and gulping like a fish out of water. "Get out," I ordered, jerking my chin. He hesitated. Bad move. I tossed some cash to the cab driver, grabbed his arm, and pulled him toward my car. No protest, no resistance, just wide, unsure eyes as I drive in silence. If you were so desperate to see the other side of me, then he'll get to see it right away. No more hiding. I stopped at the usual place, an underground racing circuit, a wild mess of people shouting, drinking, betting on anything reckless. Luca trailed behind me like a lost puppy, taking in the chaos, before I moved away to get into my original form. Knight. That's my identity as a racer. But before I could go to my man, like a trouble magnet he is, he attracted some idiot in a blue mask who stepped in front of him. My jaw tightened. No one touched what was mine. I stepped in, pulling Luca against me. "He's mine," I said, gripping Luca's waist. His eyes trailed at my mask before it stooled to the silver eagle pendant chain in my neck with a flash of recognition in them. "Prove it," the blue mask challenged, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Race me. Winner gets him." I felt Luca stiffen in my arms, but before I could react, he spoke up. "Fine, let's do it." I turned to him, my eyes blazing, furious, but the crowd was already cheering, the bet sealed. Even though I didn't want to, I sat inside my car on the starting track, my eyes trailing toward Luca, whose eyes blaze with betrayal and accusation. Before the race commenced with a horn blow, the race was blurred. Adrenaline, speed, the roar of the engine. I didn't care about the crowd or the stakes. All I cared about was winning, and I did. When I stepped out of the car, the crowd went wild, but I didn't care. I marched straight to Luca, grabbed him, and dragged him away from prying eyes. I pinned him against a wrecked car, my hands gripping his shoulders as I ripped off the mask. Luca's eyes flashed with sheer disbelief of recognition, until I growled furiously. "What the hell were you thinking, agreeing to be the subject of a bet? Did you think I'd let someone else have what's mine?" Luca shoved me, his eyes blazing with anger. "And what did you think? That I wouldn't figure out who you really are? That I wouldn't see past your goody-two-shoes act?" I scoffed, my patience wearing thin. "You're delusional if you think you caught me on your own. I let you catch me, Luca. If I didn't want you to find me, you never would have." He glared at me, his chest heaving, but I could see the cracks in his armor, the doubt, the fear, and then he went for the jugular. You're the reason Damien's not with me. You dragged Damien to such stuff, didn't you? Because my brother would have never been a part of this if it weren't for you. He's the son of a police officer, for God's sake. You freaking knight. And now he is rotting in jail while you are roaming freely. My jaw clenched, my hands tightening on his shoulders. Get this loud and clear, Lucas Reyes. It was Damien who introduced me to this, and Damien isn't in jail because of me, I snapped. He's there because of you. Luca's eyes widen, his anger faltering. What are you talking about? I stepped closer, my voice sharp and cutting. That damn sports car from your birthday? Damien took it that night to race, but when the track got raided, he panicked and injured someone when the cops got on his tail. He fled, abandoning the car, and your dad found it, being one of the cops, when he saw your birthday card inside. He thought you were involved. Knowing your dad, Damien turned himself in to protect you. It was his screw-up, but he refused to let it ruin your future. Luca stumbled back, his face pale, his hands trembling. You're lying. But all I could do was scoff in pittiness. This boy has my heart, yet all he did was play with me to get the truth out of my mouth. It's you who lied, Luca, roaming around me, getting closer, just to get to the end of the truth. You could have asked me, and I would have happily bared my soul at your feet. Luca's eyes stung, my voice pained and dark, as I just leaned in. Tell me, isn't that why you're always watching me? Trying to find a reason to hate me, to blame me for something I wasn't responsible for? Tristan, Luca's voice broke, his hands reaching out to hold mine, but I stepped back, smiling painfully. You still want to break me, Luca? Then do it, because broken or whole, my heart has always been yours. But I don't know if I want to be around you anymore or not. He stuttered to come up with a response, his eyes watering, but I was too done with the chase. The game, the manipulation. Hence, I turned and walked away, putting the black mask back on my face to hide the storm of despair in my eyes. Tristan wouldn't even look at me in the school. He'd see me coming down the hall, shift his bag higher on his shoulder, and walk the other way like I didn't exist. No smirk, no sharp retorts, nothing, just silence. And it was killing me. I tried, I really did. Stopping by his locker, sitting across from him at lunch, even showing up at his usual spot in the parking lot. Each time, he just walked away. leaving me stranded there like a complete idiot. I had ruined everything. I'd lost my appetite. My mind was lost most of the time. Teachers berated me for not paying attention, slipped my footing while walking on the curbs. I just didn't lose Damien or Tristan. I was now losing myself too. Reaching home, I felt my inner turmoil splitting me into half, and it burst when, upon reaching home, my parents sitting in the living room abruptly stopped talking on my arrival, and the last word I heard was them taking Damien's name. I couldn't take it anymore as I stood in front of them, my gaze pained and dazed, while I gripped my fist until I felt my nail dig into my palm. "Come on, talk," I heaved, staring at my parents. "You guys were talking about Damien, weren't you? Continue." "Oh no, wait, you wouldn't do it in front of me. Why? Because this loser's son doesn't deserve to know all this while his elder brother has been in jail." "Luca, how did you—" I cut my dad off. "Why? Why was I not aware?" My parents stiffened as they exchanged glances before Mum spoke. "Luca, we thought— You what? You didn't think I could handle it? Thought I was too much of a pathetic, useless screw-up to even be considered part of this damn family?" My voice cracked, a choked sob escaping as my chest heaved. "I know I'm not Damien. I know I'll never be him. But I'm still your son. So why do you always make me feel like I don't belong?" "Son, it isn't like that." I felt my gaze blur with tears and black dots appearing as their reasonings grew distant, and before I could understand, my vision blurred, and suddenly my knees buckled. The last thing I heard was my mum's panicking before everything went dark. When I woke up, my room was dimly lit, my body weak and cold. A warm hand brushed through my hair, and I blinked up at my mum's tear-streaked face. "Oh, Luca," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. We never meant to make you feel that way. I love you so much. Luca, just please, don't leave me like Damien did. You and Damien are my world." I swallowed, my throat dry. "Mum?" She kissed my forehead, and I felt my father's presence before he spoke. "Damien didn't want you to know, Luca. He was afraid you'd hate him." And just like that, everything clicked. My own ignorance, my gullibility, it caused so much chaos. And in the middle of it, I had hurt the only person who had always been there for me, Tristan. But now, I was afraid he'd leave me too. For 3 days, I was stuck in bed. Low BP, my parents' paranoia, and a whole lot of unanswered calls. Every time I dialed Tristan, it went straight to voicemail. I'd never felt more useless. Then, in the evening, a familiar voice cut through my misery. "You look like shit. Don't get used to this." I turned so fast my head spun. Tristan at my doorway, holding a bowl of soup. His expression somewhere between annoyed and concerned as he kept the bowl on the side table beside me. "Mr. Ray's called, told me you were sick and refused to eat until you saw me. So, now that you saw me, drink this up, no tantrums." Something in me snapped. I tried to remind myself that this meant nothing, that he didn't care. But when he turned to leave, I lost it. The sobs broke free, shaking me as I curled into myself. Tristan was by my side in a second, panic flashing across his face. "Luca, what did I do?" "It's not you," I hiccuped. "It's me. I was so stupid. My parents were right to think I was immature, too gullible to even know what was happening in my own family. And now, I'm gonna lose you too." Tristan exhaled sharply. Then, before I could react, he was pulling me into his arms, his hands cupping my tear-streaked face. "I'm not leaving anywhere, you idiot." His voice was softer now. "I'm still hurt, yeah, but I wouldn't let go of you that easily." His thumb brushed under my eye. "This heart has been on you since forever. You're stuck with me. But you do need to do a lot of groveling." I nodded rapidly, my breath still uneven. "I'll do whatever it takes to win your trust." And I meant it. Over the next few weeks, I did everything to make it up to him. Saving him a seat at lunch, sharing my food, even hunting down a snack he'd ever mentioned liking. I waited after school just to walk out with him. He didn't make it too hard, but he wasn't letting me off the hook either. And slowly, we found our rhythm again. With my dad's permission, I finally talked to Damien. One emotional call left me breathless but lighter. He was coming home in a few more months, and, for the first time in forever, things felt like they were falling into place. There was just one last thing. I wanted to be a compatible match for Tristan. "Teach me how to drive," I said after we walked out of school. Tristan raised a brow. "You hate driving, my passenger princess." "I want to do this for you, with you." His gaze softened. "All right, baby steps." I was not meant to drive, and I learned it the hard way. Over the past 2 weeks, Tristan made sure to polish my driving skills, but this death trap of a sports car gifted to me on my 17th birthday proved that it hated me. First, sending my brother to jail, now, making me almost go to heaven, or hell, I don't know. Tonight, despite Tristan forbidding me to wait a few more weeks to test myself on the road, I finally took the car out, and Tristan unwillingly sat beside me to keep guiding me. But the moment I saw 2 trucks coming from the front, panic seized me. My grip slipped, the car sped up, as instead of slowing the speed, I hit the gas instead, and before I could process it, we were about to slam against a truck. The airbags deployed, my body jerked forward, except Tristan's arm flew in front of me, shielding me. His head hit the dashboard slightly, but I barely noticed. I was shaking, tears were streaming down. I can't do anything right. I almost killed us both. Tristan unbuckled, his hand cupping my face. Hey, breathe. My breath came in sharp, panic clawing my throat. I'm useless. I can't do anything right. I ruin everything. My voice cracked as I struggled to catch my breath, my hands shaking. Tristan, A sudden, soft peck on my lips silenced me. I froze, eyes wide, the world narrowing down to the warmth of Tristan's lips against mine. And when he was pulling back, I gripped his collar to press my lips firmly against him. The storm inside me calmed, but my heart hammered, and my lips trembled as I matched my eyes with his. I can't imagine myself without you, Tristan. He chuckled huskily, nudging our noses together. Took you long enough to realize? I swallowed, leaning into his touch. I'm sorry, I whispered. I wanted to destroy you because I didn't know how to love you. Tristan watched me intently. If you ever try to pull this stunt, dare push me again. I anticipated, my gaze affixed to his dark one until he pecked my lips again. I'll just pull you back, because baby, I don't revert halfway. Either you make it with me to the end, or you don't get into the passenger seat at all. I chuckled with teary eyes and nodded, throwing my arms around his neck. I'll be your passenger princess always. And he tightened his arms, sighing, nuzzling in the crook, whispering, forever mine. The last few months, we had been together, really together. The teasing, the bickering, the stolen kisses between classes. I never thought I'd have something like this, but with Tristan, it feels like it was always meant to be. Damien was coming home in a few weeks. My family wasn't perfect, but we were healing. And Tristan, he stopped going to those illegal car races. He was changing, even without me spelling it up. Only for me. One night, under the soft streetlights of the empty racetracks, Tristan leans in and whispers, "Marry me one day?" I scoffed. "What makes you think I'd say yes?" Tristan smirks. "Because you love me." And damn it, he was right. Once I swore I'd ruin Tristan, but now, I can't imagine my life without him. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. What's your favorite moment from Luca and Tristan's roller coaster romance? Was it the fiery tension, the heartbreak, or that kiss that changed everything? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.